Hey guys, so now we're in the first week of January 2026. It is a brand new year. Figured I'd go over on social media and ask you guys what kind of updates / improvements you would want to see from Legends in 2026. And obviously, the more specific, the better. My favorite thing is when we get these responses, they're like one line and that's it. And it doesn't really add much to the conversation. Like I can't really comment too in depth on that. So the more specific, the better. I would say that 2025 overall was a pretty controversial year from what I've seen in terms of social media. Not that social media isn't ever not controversial, but we'll see what they do with this year. And specifically, I want to see what you guys want to see out of the game, right? So we'll see. We'll go through some of these comments here. All right. Good old Billy with his long response. Updated PvP. By the way, I do expect to mostly agree with your guys' comments here. Usually when it comes to like what types of things you guys would want to see, I would say that most people are pretty much in the same boat with this stuff. So I don't think there's really going to be too much that I would disagree with here, but I guess we'll see. Updated PvP rewards, more CC for top 100 through top 1000. Animated titles would be cool. Yeah, I'm actually surprised they haven't done this yet. Animated titles. Like, I don't know, like a Goku just doing a Kamehameha as a title. Seems like a very obvious thing that they should do that they just haven't done. PvP rewards have always been like very strange to me because like if you actually look at it, the person who ranks #1 overall in the world gets like, what is it, like 200 more CC than the top 1000. Like, so I don't really get it, but yeah, they could definitely do that as well. More frequent unique equips / Zenkais during celebrations, campaigns, emergency character adjustments when a unit is underperforming. Add more ways for us to acquire supporters outside of just banners and CC shops. Yeah, pretty much I agree with all this. The only thing I would say is I feel like they did a good job in 2025 with unique equips. I don't really have any issues with the way they handled unique equips. It really is just the Zenkais. Zenkais were an issue. Huge issue. I did a video talking about what I thought were the top 5 biggest W's and L's of 2025. And the #1 biggest L, in my opinion, was just overall the way that they handled Zenkais throughout the year. So I definitely would agree that Zenkais definitely need to be better and more frequent. This is something I've talked about many times. A character like Metal Cooler comes out. A character like DKP comes out. Red Fusion Zamasu on initial release comes out. I mean, they just got to change the character. They just got to buff them. Give them what they need right away instead of waiting 8 months to give them something, right? Obviously, in terms of like how they handled, for example, Fusion Zamasu, I do think that they did the character justice with his unique equip. I think they did a good job with it, but there's no reason why a premium character like this should drop and then they're just not really impactful. Especially a character like Fusion Zamasu, who people have been waiting for a long time, right? We actually ended up getting 2 premium Fusion Zamasus last year. We got the Corrupted Ultra one and then this LF one. But I mean, a character like Fusion Zamasu drops. A character like Yellow Goku Black drops at the beginning of Legends Fest last year. DKP, Kid Goku, Evolution Blue, Vegeta, Metal Cooler. I mean, we can go through a lot of these kind of like underwhelming releases. Obviously, a lot of these characters are more underwhelming than others. Like, I definitely wouldn't put Evolution Blue Vegeta in the same argument as like Metal Cooler or DKP. But we shouldn't have instances where these long-awaited premium LF and Ultra characters, although probably not going to really apply to Ultras, but these long-awaited premium LF characters drop, and it's like they're not very impactful. It's just, it doesn't really feel good, right? Add a region-specific leaderboard for Proud and Standard on top of the already existing global one. Okay, I might have a very, I don't know how to call this. It would be like a hot take, I guess. A very unpopular opinion regarding this. My opinion, and to me this is obvious, I think, but the game should be region locked. Right? If I'm queuing up for PvP in Japan, it shouldn't even be possible for me to be queuing up with somebody outside of Asia. If I'm queuing up in the United States, it shouldn't be possible for me to be queuing into somebody who's not playing the game in North America. It just should not be possible because it just provides for a terrible experience, right? I'd rather just not play the game at all than queue into somebody who lives 7,000 miles away from me. And regardless of how good that player's connection is, it's just not really possible with how the game is structured to be able to have a smooth and enjoyable match. So in my opinion, the way that this game is structured, like they should restrict who you're able to match up with in PvP. It's not like the game has such few people playing it that we need to expand beyond the geographical region that you're playing in, unless you're in like a really remote place, like you're queuing up from like Fiji or something, like I don't know, like something really specific. There should not be this like wide availability where, okay, I'm queuing up in Japan. Oh, looks like I got matched up with somebody in Brazil, right? Nothing against Brazil, but you're nowhere close to me geographically. Should not be possible. It just degrades the experience. So in my opinion, the game should be region locked. So in fact, I could like, this is actually probably like a different issue entirely, because this is somebody who plays the game in Japan is going to have a completely different experience than someone who plays the game in the United States. It's just the way the game is. Like it's a completely different game. So not having those environments be compared directly in terms of PvP leaderboards, I guess also makes sense. But I think the bigger problem with geography and the way that this game treats matchmaking is just get the game region locked. Optimize the green TOP map. Yeah, I mean, this actually also spills over into the purple TOP map, but the green one is worse. I don't know why it's taking so long. Honestly, they should just remove it from the pool. I don't understand. Update the Z Metal shop. Yeah, the Z Metal shop has been an issue since the game launched. Remember when the, okay, so funny thing about the Z Metal shop is the game launched, and when the game launched, there obviously didn't used to be Z2 medals. It was just Z medals, the original circle Z medals, not the triangle ones. When the game launched, the Z Metal shop had nothing. It didn't exist. So you got Z medals for pulling characters that you've already had maxed out with Z power. And guess what you got from those Z medals? Literally nothing. You got nothing. Z medals existed, so you accumulated Z medals, but there was nothing in the Z Metal shop. And I remember it was like a placeholder, and they were like, oh, Z Metal shop coming soon or something. So you actually got nothing. So this was literally an issue day one of the game, and it's persisted as an issue since day one of the game. So I'm not really super optimistic on them being able to give us like an elegant solution to the Z Metal problem, but I mean, sure, we could add it to the list. Add new rewards such as animated titles, sleeves, backgrounds to PvE, tower modes to incentivize non-PvE. They definitely do this already. Like I remember the event that's out right now. We should be able to see this here. Events. Let me just see. It is the Festival Tower. This one. I believe I can't even. Yeah, there's no way to actually see the rewards here. But this event, the last stage, I believe gives you sleeves. I'm pretty sure, right? And a title. And it's not just exclusive to this event either. There's a lot of other events that do the same thing. That give you cosmetics for clearing it. But yeah, like animated titles is something they should just add in general. But yeah, sure. Increase login CC rewards. We got more banners than we used to. Let us backfloat without losing vanish. Yeah, this is the infamous Battle System 2.7 change. Lastly, stop failing the DB tag. Yeah, well, let's try and be. All of these things will happen before they do this. So let's try and be a bit realistic here. Increase the CC login reward. Sure, I'm never going to be anti more CC. Right? It doesn't. Like why would I care well, actually it would help me, right? If they give out more CC, it would actually be better for me too, right? It's not like I miss out because they give out more CC. No, it actually helps me too, so sure. Okay, I would like to see an overhaul of the UI, the addition of bananas. Yeah, we need that, sure. More frequent Zenkais and uniques, 1% in LF. Again, uniques, I think they did a good job with last year, but it is more so on the Zenkai issue. LF Bojack with 600% damage versus Gohan with EX Goku with Zenkai, yeah. More frequent raids. They did a good job with raids in the beginning of 2025. I think we had a raid up for pretty much the entirety of the first 3 months of the year. I think as we got like into the Daima celebration, it kind of fell off a little bit. And then the DB celebration in April, I think also didn't really have consistent raids. And then after the anniversary ended, I also think we didn't have consistent raids up. But I think if you look at how raids were handled in 2025 versus like every prior year, I think we had higher uptime on consistent raids than every prior year. But I would, I think we should at least have the same amount of raids up throughout 2026, if not just have one up all the time, right? Better LF banner steps. Yeah, I don't know if that's realistic. I mean, sure, obviously, you know how much that would help me if they like buffed the steps of the LF banners. We can hope for it. I mean, sure. Make Legends tickets similar to Dokkan coins up to date. Yeah, the Legends ticket shop has always sucked. I think they should update it for sure. I mean, is there a reason not to just put like everything up until like the last 6 months into that shop? I don't see why they wouldn't. More events like bingo and hoi poi. Yep, easier supporter leveling. I think just the way that you get supporters and the way that you level them up should just be overhauled. Make supporters come back on every yeah, this is a problem. This is a huge issue. This is actually, I think, probably the biggest problem with supporters is the fact that we have to wait. Like, think about it. Dende and Yajirobe have never returned. So you actually have no way of obtaining Dende and Yajirobe if you didn't pull for them on their initial banner until they come back, which who knows when that's going to be. But yeah, make supporters come back on every non-ultra banner. No reason for Dende to return after Namek is out of the meta. Here's what they should do. You ready for my solution to this? It's pretty easy. On the banners, so let's just pick a random banner. Let's just say the Gohan banner, okay? Actually, damn, you can't see the rates on here. I'm gonna have to plug my phone in for this. Give me a sec. Okay, so let me just show this because I think this is the easiest way to illustrate what my point is. So here's the Gohan banner. Take a look at the actual rates here. So overall, there's a 20% sparking rate, 35% EX rate, 43% hero rate, and then the total supporter rate is 2% because it's 1.8 for the normal supporter, and then the alternate supporter is 0.2%. So the chance of you actually pulling the Vegeta supporter, which is the only supporter on the banner, is 2%. Here's what you do. Every single time a new supporter comes out, all you do is you just take some of the rate from the heroes and you put it to the supporters. So let's just say the next banner, there's a supporter Chi-Chi. Okay, Chi-Chi is the next supporter. We would just add, let's just say 2%, take 2% from 43, put it over to supporters. So now the rate to pull heroes is 41% and the rate to pull supporters is 4%. And you just add Chi-Chi to the lineup here and you just keep the prior supporters on here. Now, probably what they do most likely is if they did that, they probably wouldn't have the same rate for each supporter. The new supporter would probably have a higher rate. So it probably would be like 2% for the new supporter and then 1% for all the old supporters. But at least you should have access to, Yajirobe, Dende, Oob on these banners. And the reason why is because these supporters are acting as counters to specific tags. Eventually, we're going to have a supporter to counter like pretty much every tag in the game. It's just the way that the system is structured. So if we're going months and months and months and months and months, which it looks like we are going to without these supporters coming back, it doesn't really feel great when some of these teams like GT, this is a perfect example because GT is like probably the best team right now, is just a GT core of characters. It feels really bad right now to have no possible way of getting Oob as a supporter, because Oob is the most powerful supporter hands down right now because of how prevalent the double GT character lineup is. So if you don't have Oob right now, you can't get him. It's impossible. There's nowhere in the game right now to get Oob. So they should just have these old supporters back on the next LF banners. But obviously the big caveat would be their rates would be like half of what they would be on their initial banners, but they should at least be available. And then something else is they should be available in the coin shop too. So you have Vegeta here. Obviously he's the new supporter here, but you should also have all the old supporters available here as well, right? So we need to have more accessibility for these supporters, which is the biggest problem with the system right now. So let's go back here and get rid of this. Revert TOP, remove the pay to win boosts. I haven't really looked into this. I think the TOP change is for the most part better for more players. For more players, I think it is better because more people are getting rewards. The overall amount of rewards that are being given out for TOP now is much higher than it used to be. So you look at the total amount of, like, this is the way that they're judging it, and this is their reasoning for the way that they're doing it. the total amount of CC being given out as rewards in aggregate to the player base is much higher now than it was prior to the change. And that was their stated like goal behind the TOP change, is they just wanted more players to have accessible rewards from the mode. So I don't really know if I've seen compelling evidence to revert the changes to TOP. The only thing that is obviously worse is I think they remove, what is it, like the clear rewards for the bosses. That is worse, obviously, but I think when it comes down to more people getting rewards from the mode overall, it's just better now. Actually utilize ground battles and overdriving. Yes, yeah, I agree with that. Interesting mechanics for less, yeah. Okay, sure. Remove green TOP map, yeah. Optimization of ground level on maps, especially TOP maps, and adding more mechanics/abilities depending on if you are on the ground in the air. Yeah, this is a big thing that I talked about a lot. Really, the only maps that I've encountered that have like pretty bad performance is the TOP maps. It really is the green one, which is the worst, but the purple one also has some bad optimization as well. Better off weeks during major celebrations, especially the initial off weeks after part 1. For example, they got to understand that just the free-to-play units and nothing else in the first weekly reset kills the momentum and hype from the reveals and new units drop. Yeah, I mean, something else they could do is, instead of giving just straight up more content for those weeks, how about we actually make the free characters not suck immediately, right? Like, what if the free characters were actually good? I don't mean drop a top 5 free-to-play character, but like at least have some value, because they drop these free-to-play characters. I mean, we could take a look here at like the event exclusive tag, I guess is how we would filter this. What actual impactful free-to-play characters did we get in the entirety of 2025? Let's just start from the beginning. So the first free character we got in 2025 was the blue Goku. Oh, yeah, this is in order, I think. So this blue Goku, yeah, he was all right. He had a very rare ability, which is no switching on main for 10 counts. This is like green Bardock. You never see this anymore, but even that wasn't really enough to save this character. This Goten was terrible. This Piccolo was terrible. I don't even remember what this guy does. This might be the most forgettable character I've ever played with. I don't remember a single thing of what this character does. This guy was fun. They usually go out of their way to make the April Fool's character a little bit more special, because typically they give them new animations and new models, right? Cyborg Tao isn't in the game. Well, he wasn't in the game until he got added here. So this is a brand new character added to the game, new model, new animations, new everything. So they do go out of their way to make the April Fool's characters better. Last year, their Raditz was still not very good, but at least his animations were pretty cool. But I actually think Cyborg Tao was pretty good. This Jiren was okay. This was the Legends Fest Jiren. I actually think he's probably one of the better free characters we've had in a while. This third form Frieza was not great. This Goku's got an interesting mechanic, but he's not great. We had this Rildo who was kind of This Jiren from the anniversary who was terrible. And then we had this Trunks who was actually mildly interesting, because he has a pretty unique starter ability thing here. This 50% blue card and ultimate damage. Pretty good. I mean, this is interesting, but besides that, he's not very good. So yeah, I think the first step, honestly, instead of improving the content of the off weeks, when we're specifically talking about free characters, how about we actually make free characters somewhat interesting, right? I mean, that would be a start. They should do it like the 6th anniversary, where the Part 1 Fusions drop was followed by LF Brawley Zenkai a few days later. Yeah, I mean, that's just because the anniversary starts on, well, both big celebrations, Anniversary and Legends Fest, start on like either a Friday or a Saturday. Revamp of the equipment system to make it less tedious and resource. Yeah, I mean, that would, yeah. The equipment system needs to be over. It's been that way for a long time. Better guild system, and they have to add some spectate mode. Spectate mode would be interesting. It would just be like GodTube, but how would they actually add that, right? Because it would be live, wouldn't it? You would probably have to be able to like check a box. So when you queue into PvP, I guess the way they would have to do this is you would check a box that would basically say like, I allow people to spectate my matches. And then if you and your opponent both have that box checked, you could like, I guess, have some kind of separate channel in GodTube where someone could go in and spectate your match. I don't know. I don't know how they'd add spectate mode, but it'd be cool if they added that, yeah. More what if units what if units game originals. I mean, we've been asking for that for now. It's over 2 years since our one and only summonable game originals character, Goku and Bardock. I'm all for it. I think we should get more, but I don't know, man. I would like that. I would. Because it adds so much more depth to the game, right? We can, we can get our UI Gokus, we can get our Vegetos and Gogetas and all these hype characters, but how often are we going to get Z and Super Broly as a tag character? How often are we going to get Frieza and Cooler as a tag character? Super Saiyan God Gogeta, like these different kinds of characters and forms of characters that just don't exist in like the normal universe of Dragon Ball. That is there's just infinite possibilities with that. And the fact that they tried it once and then basically gave up on it, I don't know if that's Shueisha Toei kind of blocking that or what the issue is, but yeah, we definitely need more of this. Some collabs and perhaps a new game mode. They need to break the predictability and monotony, and without a doubt, more Zenkais. Yeah. Basically the year having so we're going into 2026, right? We can pretty much say with a fairly high degree of certainty what the structure of the year is going to look like. We pretty much know instantly. I don't know if that's good. Right? I don't know if it's good to go into a year and then just okay, for a live service game, we kind of just know what's going to happen. We obviously don't know what the characters are going to be. We don't know what the mechanics are going to be. We don't know what the updates are going to look like, but we basically know what the structure of the schedule is. Is that good? Probably not. You probably need some kind of element of surprise with these games. It just adds a bit more excitement, right? When you don't really know what to expect. So I agree with this, yeah. When you awaken equips, have an option to roll max slot 1 for more materials, so you don't have to roll awaken equips for an hour, then use slot movers to roll the other slots. Okay, here's what they're going to do with this. You know what? They're never going to do this because they have the thing you could buy. They have the guaranteed slot 1 upgrade thing that you would need to spend money on. That's why they're never going to do this. This has been something, I mean, they actually did talk about this. I didn't actually make a video on this, but I mean, we could just quickly bring it up here. I don't know where it would be in here. It's like the New Year's greetings kind of thing. Where is this? I don't know how far back this is. Is it even still in the news? Anyway, I'll just talk about it. So they put the New Year's greeting. I might have passed it. They put the New Year's greetings out and they said one of the updates coming to the game at some point in 2026. Yeah, I definitely passed it at this point. Let me just see if I could refresh again. Is they're looking to overhaul the way... Actually, is it part of this? No way, it's part of this, right? No. They're overhauling the way that Equipment Awakening is going to work. So they didn't really give many details on it. But that is what they said. Yeah, I don't see it in the news here. So anyway, yeah, but they did put that in the news that they were looking at ways of improving Equipment Awakening because it takes too many steps. So they might add something like this where maybe you could choose to sacrifice a bit more resources to have a chance at a better roll, but I don't think they're ever going to put it to where it's guaranteed because they already have an item in the game that does that for slot 1 and it costs money. So drop cool units like Mighty Mask. Okay. Use characters people don't usually summon. People usually don't summon for us free units so that we have a diverse set of units in the game. We still don't have transformed Zarbon. Yeah, we don't have no Zarbon. I would say that they definitely tried a bit more of that in 2025. We got an LF Android 13, which I wouldn't have expected. We got a purple GT Super Saiyan 3 Goku. I mean, they definitely gave us less hype characters that we would normally get in 2025. So it's possible we could start seeing them branch out even more this year. We'll see. Equipment space increase. Yeah, dude. Equipment space. Has it been 2 years since we've seen equipment space? This is a huge issue for me. I'm at the point now where I'm going to have to start deleting equips where I only have one of them. Up until recently, I've only been deleting equips where I have multiple ones of them. So I at least still have every equip pretty much. But I'm getting to the point now where I'm running out of equips that I have doubles of. So if they keep giving us, what is it, 10 to 12 equips per month, And then sometimes those equips have multiple different roles. Like sometimes this, like the second slot will have like strike attack or blast attack, so you need multiple versions of the equip. If they keep dropping those amounts of equips every single month and then they just refuse to give us more equipment spaces, I'm gonna have to start deleting equips that I have one of, which feels terrible, right? I mean, like why should that be the situation that we're in here? How hard is it just to put if they don't feel comfortable putting equipment space in like any of these in-game currency shops, just put it in the web store. It's the most obvious thing. Just put equipment space in the web store, man. Just do it. What if units? Yeah, we talked about that. Adjustability bonus to emphasize team building, not just throwing the 3 best units in the game on the same team and towering over everything else in the game. Also, LF Ultra Omega 2.0. Yeah, I think then potentially experimenting with more restrictions is good. I've talked about this so many times now, but like making the ultra abilities actually impactful would be good. I mean, dude, look at this. Look at this. Super Saiyan 4 Goku ultra ability, 30% damage. Look at his starter ability. Do you think anybody cares about this? 30% damage when his starter ability is giving over 10 times that. Why would I care about 30%? Like, compare that to this. Back in the day, it made sense. Super Gogeta drops. His ultra ability is 30%, but then his starter ability basically is what this was 100. Yeah, it made sense. It was 30% of his overall starter ability damage. But like, who cares? Now it's less than 10. So I don't like make the ultra abilities do stuff again. Actual good kit design that brings balance to the game. No more quirky stuff. Also, I would like new PvE content. As for character choices, possible versus characters tags like One Piece Treasure. I'm not sure how that works in that game. Or like a UI Sign Goku and Jiren tag with them having individual LFs and kits. Huh. UI Sign Goku and Jiren tag having individual LFs and kits. Yeah, so I mean, if I'm understanding this correctly, it would just be a tag UI Goku and Jiren character who basically act as 2 separate characters. The reason why they wouldn't do that is because there's no point in this game selling a character like that as one character when they could just sell them as 2 characters. Right? This is the argument I make with having a tag ultra character or a transforming ultra character. Because basically what you're talking about with a tag ultra character is it's essentially 2 ultras put into the same character. So why would they ever do that when they could just drop those 2 characters as separate characters? Right? People have been asking for like an ultra God Goku and God Vegeta from the Broly movie. They could drop that character as an ultra tag character, or they could just drop Ultra God Goku as one character and Ultra God Vegeta as another character. That's probably what they would do, right? Free-to-play characters being at least top 15 on release. Yeah, okay, this is what I'm talking about. I mean, again, I don't know if we need free-to-play characters that are like cracking the top 10 or whatever in terms of just being that good individually, but at least have them with like abilities that make it at least somewhat enticing to run them. Because right now there's a free character drops and someone will ask like, what is the point in farming this character? And the actual response is there isn't, outside of like using them as boost characters for like raids. That's really the only reason you would ever farm a free character, right? Is just to get the boost drops, the boosted drops from a raid event or co-op if they give extra dual coins. That's it. You're never actually going to get value from that character individually. So that's something that they need to work on too. That way, if someone has their favorite saga drop but don't summon on every banner, they immediately can have a team to run it on with an off saga leader instead of having to worry about whether they have enough for the Zenkai. Yeah. Just making free characters more valuable than just being collection pieces and there for bonus drops in PvE events. I think all units that exist in the game should have their kits rewritten to the post-new design philosophy format, and that for the tier boost system should be utilized in a way which makes all units viable as to avoid homogenous teams. Yeah, so I don't know why they haven't done this yet. So let's just take Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta as an example, right? So let's take a look at his kit. I mean, this is just, who wants to read this, right? I mean, it's just annoying. I'm telling you right now, I'm a new player. I download the game. I summon for, you know, my favorite character, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. I see there's an Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta that exists. I have no idea how good they are. I'm just going to summon because I like Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. I pull Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. I take one look at this and I just uninstall the game. The game is gone. I'm not reading this. Who the hell has time to read this? So yeah, that's something that they should do as well, right? Because we could just compare this to this guy. And even though I would argue that these have gotten pretty long post the change, this is at least way more digestible than this. So yeah, I would agree. They need to go back and redo those kits. I don't know why they haven't done that yet. They have gotten better with using the tier boost systems in a smarter way, because right now, I mean, this is, you know, I don't know how they're going to do this in 2026, but at least the past few campaigns throughout Legends Fest, I guess, well, the past few parts of Legends Fest, and then the one campaign before Legends Fest with DB, we did have a lot of characters that were pretty meta viable thanks to the boost, right? Right now, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is legitimately really good. Super 17 is usable. We saw Purple Ultimate Gohan was good last season. The season before Legends Fest started, we had like Tambourine, who was really good. DKP was viable, so I think they've gotten a lot smarter with how they're using the PvP boost system. So I am a bit more optimistic on that end, but they could definitely improve it even more, yeah. More accessible guild battle. Here's my suggestion for guild battle is as somebody who's experienced guild battle. I think has it been 2 or 3 seasons? I think it's only been 2 seasons of guild battle. As someone who's experienced guild battle, they should just scrap it. It literally is the worst mode I've ever played. Probably in any. It's so bad. It's so bad. It's so bad. It's so bad. I did a video on it. You guys can go watch it. It is so bad. It's so bad. There is no justification for spending any development time on that mode. Please get rid of it. It is so bad. Just focus on other parts of the game. It's terrible. Better Zenkai / equipment. More so Zenkais, yeah. Better content spread, not one packed week than one super dry week. Yeah, the content spacing has been pretty bad. More unified team builds with new units. We do not want a universe rep situation in 2025. I think the problem with universe reps is it relied too much on specific characters, and specifically it was this guy. If this guy was like 1.5 times as good as he was when he dropped, I think the way the year played out would have been significantly different, because we went like basically a full year without a good, competent purple character, number one. And then essentially the entire performance of the Universe Rep team all the way through Legends Fest was reliant on how good this guy was going to be. So if they just made this character like 1.5 times as good as he was, not even like double as good, just make him like 1.5 times as good. And all of a sudden this guy plus UI plus like Kefla, we also have like the 1% Sparkings who are also good. Kale and Khalifa and Kaba, like, dude, this team ends up becoming really good. Ultra hits with his platinum equipment. And then all of a sudden you have a really competent purple to deal with full power Frieza in part 3, and maybe Universe Reps is kind of like going to be a viable team alongside the part 3 characters, and you also have Saiyan Saga characters. So like, this Vegeta kind of not being as good as he should have been, I think really, really hurt the progression of the meta throughout the anniversary, and also post anniversary too. So yeah, I think the real problem is not having like one character make or break how good a team is, because this one character, I think, this is probably the single most important character of this year of 2025. I'm gonna be completely honest here. This is probably the most important character, because the fact that this guy wasn't as good, again, it just had like this huge domino effect. And it really hurt the progression of like the next 3 months. Like, this character drops at the end of May. The ripples of this guy not being good enough are felt in like September, all the way from May. So like 4 months, we've had like this really negative effect because of this character. And this all goes back to that concept of adjusting characters who are not good enough, because I assume what's happening is by the time Vegeta drops, they already have pretty much everything planned out and designed and developed pretty much until Festival. So like Kefla, Metal Cooler, Android 13, GT Super Saiyan 3 Goku, Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, Zamasu. Like, they might not have all those characters' kits fully like finalized, obviously, but for the most part, they know what characters are dropping, they know what teams they're buffing, they know how things are going to go. And the assumption is Vegeta is good enough to lead this Universe Reps team next to UI Goku and Kefla. But if that ends up not being the case, then it throws the entire plan out of whack. So this character right here, if he drops, a week after he drops, they realize, okay, actually he's not performing to the way, to the standard that we wanted. Let's go ahead and fix some areas of his kit that we need to fix. And then all of a sudden, that not only helps the Universe Rep team, but it also helps stabilize the meta to where we don't have Frieza Saga just kind of being unchecked for 2 months straight. We have checks for these green characters. Vegeta Clan is good, right? So like there's a million different things that they could have done to fix the problem, and it just wasn't done, right? And this is why I'm constantly talking about them going and being proactive with making these dynamic adjustments. Like Vegeta, okay, let's do a Goku and Frieza style buff here. Not that he really needed a buff as big as Goku and Frieza, but there are certain parts of this guy's kit that when he dropped were super, super obvious that weren't up to par. So I don't know. They were like really, really, really adamant that they were never going to do another Goku and Frieza buff again. And I'm sitting here 2.5 years later after that situation, and I'm still wondering why. Still, 2.5 years later, I'm wondering why they will never do it again. Why? Why would they not do that again? No one has an answer. I don't have an answer. I don't know. Better pity on Ultra Banners, yeah. Remove the 20k CC limit as quickly as possible because it prevents free-to-play players from saving and managing their CC. Yeah, again, I think they should at least raise the cap. They're never going to get rid of it. Let's just be realistic. They're never going to get rid of the 20k CC cap. I've been for this for a long time. I don't think they should have the cap at 20,000. I think it should be like 40. I would assume that if they ever raise the cap, they probably would only raise it to like 30. Because it exists for a reason, right? Let's just be real here. The CC cap exists. Like think about it this way. Why is the exchange shop CC cap 20k, but then the purchased CC cap is 200k? Is there a reason for that? The answer is yes. And I'm going to let you guys think about it for yourselves as to why that cap exists. So it exists for a reason, but I think it's too low. 20k, I'd move it to 40 or 50. 50 might be a little bit high. I don't know if 50 is super realistic. I don't even know if 40 is realistic. I think if they upped it, it would be 30, but I've been for the increase in the cap for a long time, yeah. Rerun LFs after a month or two rather than like 4 or 5 months. Stop rerunning good characters and terrible side banners during major celebrations, and have all the LF banner formats be similar to the 13 banner in terms of what the new stuff they add. Yeah, so you're talking about LF supporter 1% sparking, yeah. Also improve the connection on TOP map, yeah. It's not the connection, it's the optimization. It's frame rate. It's not really like lag in terms of connection. So there's two types of lag. There's connection lag and then there's frame rate lag. It's frame rate lag because the optimization is terrible on that map. But yeah, this has also been a problem for a long time, is they'll drop a really good character like 13. 13 is like a super unpopular, nobody cares about him kind of character. But in exchange, they make him very powerful, so that when he comes back later, everybody wants him and they'll just put him on a separate banner. We saw the exact same thing with Blue 17 when he dropped. They brought back Blue 17 for the first time during the 5th anniversary, but they did not put Blue 17 on the Goku and Frieza banner. They dropped him on a separate banner. The first time they ever brought him back. And I would assume that they're going to continue doing that, which I hate, but that is a really big problem, yeah. I honestly think they should just rework the Zenkai system. I think that having them be stargated is kind of annoying. Since, yeah, Zenkai's being stargated is like it's what's the word I'm looking for? It is outdated. It is an outdated system, right? Because basically the reason why they used to be Stargated had to do with the Soul Boost system, but because the Soul Boost system no longer exists, there's no reason to have them Stargated anymore. It's not up to the players to have them at 7 stars. I mean, it kind of is, because they're just telling you to summon for them more. But I don't think it should exist anymore, yeah. They should also make Zenkais obtainable at any star range. Yeah, I agree. Especially considering some Zenkais are just for the bench. Yeah, I mean, I would say at this point that this is one of the issues with the system is I would say most of the Zenkais are for the bench, right? A lot of these 1% Zenkais, you're never actually using them. They're just there for bench. But that's like an entirely different issue. They should have monthly tournaments that influence world championship rankings in the future. This year was kind of short notice, so I understand that why they did it this way, but I feel like a change like this would make for a better and probably more competitive experience. Let me ask you guys a question, okay? And this is not to disparage the World Championship. This is not to be condescending, you know, whatever. How many of you guys and this is a legitimate question that you guys can answer in the comments. How many of you guys legitimately care or are invested in the World Championship? Does anybody legitimately care at all? I care, but the reason why I care is because I know we're going to get announcements about the game during the World Championship. I'm pretty sure it's February 7th is when the World Championship is. So we're actually like just a month away from the World Championship. It's a Saturday, February 7th. Obviously I'm going to tune in. I am going to be watching it, but I'm going to be watching it because I care about the announcements. What kind of new characters they're going to show off. They already said that they're going to show off a massive update for the game there. So that's what I'm interested in. I don't care at all about the actual World Championship. Do you? Do you guys care? I'm legitimately curious. Do people actually care about this? Let me retry individual stages in Zenkai Space-Time Rush. I hate missing a mission, getting S ranked and having to redo the whole thing over again. I think this event just sucks in general. They should just revamp the whole event. Make the equipment grind easier. You need billions of Zenny, fragment metals, souls, and erasers. It's too much. I agree. Yeah, I mean, but this has been the case for a long time. We've been talking about this for a long. I don't know if I am optimistic on them making the necessary changes this year, but we can hope for it, right? I mean, the system sucks, so we'll hope for it. Remove the 20k CC limit as quickly as possible. Okay, this is the same person, yeah. Add more stuff to the Legends ranking metal shop. Yeah, the Legends ranking system dropped. When was that? Was it like 5th anniversary or something? I think it was right before the 5th anniversary. I think it dropped right around when Arts Boosting dropped, which was 5th anniversary, right before 5th anniversary. Yeah, so it dropped like 2.5 years ago, and they haven't added anything to that shop. That shop has been dormant for 2.5 years. Improve rewards for PvP. Yeah, I could agree with that. When you max out a supporter, he is removed from the pool. I don't think they would do that. Oh, he's talking about the shop. Yeah, no, from the shop, I would definitely agree. I thought he was talking about like banners. We don't know how that. We actually don't even know how that's going to work yet. But for the CC shop, yes, 100%. Because the way it works right now is the only way you can level up a supporter, besides summoning for more copies, is you have to use CC in the CC shop. But the problem with that is in the CC shop, there's only 2 slots per refresh, and it is 8 hours. 8 hours for the shop to refresh. So eventually we're going to get new supporter, new supporter, new supporter. Eventually we're going to have like 50 supporters in the game. And by the time that happens, think about it. We have 2 slots in the CC shop for supporters to appear. So every time the shop refreshes, you have a 2 out of 50 chance. Again, assuming that there's a total of 50 supporters. You have a 2 out of 50 chance that the supporter you want to level up will appear in the shop. So the more supporters they add to the game, the harder it's going to be to even level them up, which is insane. So yeah, I think it's stupid. I think If you max out a supporter, yes, they should remove it from the pool. I think what they should do is they should allow you to designate like a favorite supporter. And what that would do is it would guarantee that they would show up every reset in the shop. Because otherwise, you could end up in a situation where you're refreshing the shop 100 times and the supporter just doesn't show up once because it's all RNG. It's incredibly stupid. And by the way, the same supporter could show up multiple times in the shop. So it actually is worse than 2 out of 50. Remove the 7-star requirements of Zenkai unit. I agree. Add a report button for co-op raids to thin out modders. Huh. Yeah, I mean, I guess they could do that. I think they actually used to have that, but for whatever reason, they removed it. Because you used to be able to see your co-op buddy in your match history. I think, right? Am I crazy? I'm pretty sure you used to be able to see that. I don't know how you tell who's modding, because it's really just, well, I guess for modding, yeah, but for like auto clicking, you can't really tell, right? I don't even know how they fixed this, but PvP is still really bad, and they somehow made it worse now that ground battles is now a thing. It's already been half a year, and the TOP map is still like it. Yeah, so this, I agree that like the optimization is bad. It's an easy fix. All they do is just remove the map. That's it. They either remove the map or they invest the time needed to optimize it, which I don't think they would do. So yeah, they just remove the map. And give us more free supporter upgrades. That'd be great, yeah. Kits that reward more skillful plays rather than throwing a random card out or losing and being rewarded for it. I think this is very unrealistic, and the reason why is because they want the game to be very casual friendly. The entire point behind them making that 2.7 battle system change, where they remove vanish for backfloating, was to lower the skill cap of the game. So I don't think they would do this. I mean, they're just adding AoE greens to every character right now, so they don't want the game to be skill intensive, which also is, I think, a reason why people really don't care about the World Championship. The equipment upgrade system being more easily available rather than dumping forwarded slots into a specific equip just for it to be max yellow. I mean, yeah, the equipment system has sucked since day one. I've been saying since day one, and I'll continue to say it, the equipment system in this game is a scam. The equipment system in this game is a scam. The equipment system in this game is a scam. Just go for an S on every equip, unless it's a specific equip for an LF character that you need to get a red slot for the last slot on, and call it a day. S is perfectly fine. I need them to obliterate the current equipment awakening process. Well, you're in luck, because they said they were going to fix it or work on it. The amount of menus you need to go through to gather all the resources and the resource amounts itself is terrible. Yeah, so this is actually specifically what they talked. I'm kind of upset I can't find. You know, give me a second. Let me actually look for it a little bit harder. Okay, I found it. It was disguised as like a normal news post here. New Year's greetings and Legends team newsletter. Okay, so here's what they say specifically. I think it was at the bottom, actually. Yeah, here we go. Alongside new event content, we also plan to continue improving the overall UI/UX to create a more comfortable gameplay experience, such as reviewing the UI for Equipment Awakening, which currently involves multiple steps. So it is a little, I guess, disappointing that they're only talking about the UI for Equipment Awakening. I would also want them to actually change the process as well, not just the UI for it, but at least it does sound like they're aware that you have to go through way too many menus to do an Equipment Awakening, so they're probably going to fix that. Old Zenkais are hard to get to, but those Zenkai sale packs are actually pretty nice. I mean, it's really all just tied into the space-time rush, which is also an issue in itself because it's just so hard to do. It's not hard, it's just annoying, right? Pity for Ultra should remain even if you get them before. Yes. Yes. This is obvious, right? Sucks to be 40,000 CC in and pull them and not have the extra copy. Yeah, that is really annoying. Terrible. Horrible. More game originals and new exciting mechanics on characters, double transformation or triple transformation, triple tag. Triple tag probably is less likely than double transformation, just because double transformation shouldn't be that hard to do, right? Triple tag would be very hard to remember. Unless all three characters like the same kits, right? Execution like mechanic, yeah, this is my idea. Up CC cap to 40k. Yeah, 40k is probably what I would put it at. More freedom, no cap on how much CCZ power, erasers, and other resources we can. I mean, this is no. There's no way they would have no cap. The caps exist for a reason. They don't want you to be able to hoard just like infinite things. A realistic way of doing this would be increasing the cap, but there's no way they would put no cap. If they had no cap on Z power, do you understand what my account would look like? I would literally have 30,000 Legends Limited Z power. I wouldn't have to summon for the rest of like the year. I wouldn't need to summon until anniversary if there was no cap. It's just not realistic. I know it's not happening since people would be hoarding. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, again, they could raise the cap, but they would never have no cap. Group equipment awakening, like we can awaken 10 equips just like how we can do it while upgrade. Yeah, I mean, that might be one of the things they're going to implement with the change. Overdrive's defensive power should be increased right now. Feels like the defensive side of Overdrive isn't that impactful, so making it cut damage more / make characters that are tankier when in Overdrive. Maybe, yeah. It depends on the meta we're in, right? Because right now I would actually say the meta is pretty fast. We have a lot of very powerful offensive characters right now, but we could very quickly in one celebration transition to a very slow meta, where characters are just taking forever to die. There's a million. Like, this is exactly what happened in part 2 of the anniversary. Part 2 of the anniversary, think about this. Super Saiyan 4 Goku drops, and the entire meta is now different. Because we went from a super slow meta where no one was dying, we had so many different lives on the team, to now Super Saiyan 4 Goku is out, and we're just like slaughtering teams in like 15 seconds. So if the meta is slower, this could be a problem. If we make Overdrive even give you more defensive abilities, because then no one's going to die. But if we're in a meta that we're in right now, and characters are just doing so much, like Super Saiyan 4 Goku's like one-shotting you with the anti-cover change attack, then yeah, I could see Overdrive maybe you want Overdrive to be a little bit more defensive. But it's the meta-dependent sort of thing, so... Zenkai more units, if not premium units, than the 1% Sparkings. EX Zenkais are LOL at this point. Yeah, EX Zenkais just don't exist. Make every team they give buffs to have fair grounds with people who invest in a different tag entirely. Make every team they give buffs to have fair grounds with people who invest in a different tag. I'm not sure what you mean by this. Just not understanding what you're saying. Make every team they give buffs to have fair grounds with people who invest in a different tag entirely. So I guess what you're just saying is, for the DB celebration, make DB competitive with all the other teams that are good. Yeah, I mean, that's just common sense, right? We don't want to be buffing a team in a celebration, and then by the end of the celebration, the team is not good enough. Or, conversely, by the end of the celebration, the team is too good, right? I mean, that would also be a problem. Have a balance between free-to-play acquisition from shops and essentially completing a specific event. Sure, yeah. I mean, these are fair points. To provide the game in every region in the App Store, Genshin Squadron and Dokkan are available, but DBL isn't, which made me quit the game. Is this true? I don't know why Squadra and Dokkan would be available, but Legends would not be. I'm actually not sure why. I'm not aware of this problem. I haven't really looked into it, but this is the first time I'm hearing about this, and I don't know why that would be the case. Push out weekly's Chrono Crystal content. Push out weekly Chrono Crystal content. I would legit be fine if it was just 300cc. Week. I'm not sure what you mean by this. Yeah, because they drop ways to get CC every week already, right? I mean, you could just argue that we need more, which I'd be fine with, but like I don't really know what this means. More dynamic area maps that aren't buggy, yep, and some sort of reworked and supporter level up system. There's so many better ways they can implement leveling up supporters than what we have. I also think that they can make less mistakes like metal. Yeah. This to me is like Raditz and Dokkan, where it's just like, it's such an anomaly that I don't even, like, I'm not even gonna reference Metal Cooler really. I don't really do this often. Like, I'm not using Metal Cooler as like, oh dude, like look how bad 2025 was because we got Metal Cooler. Like, Metal Cooler to me is like so far outside of the bell curve that I'm not even considering him as like part of the mix, the part of the data set. Like, he's not even part of the data set of what we had in 20. He's just not even a part of the consideration. He's just such an anomaly that it's not like, I feel like if you actually considered Metal Cooler in the discussion of like good and bad things that happened in 2025, like it would actually hurt your argument. That's how bad he was. Make sure that every reset has content for everyone. A plat equip for an ultra covers a small amount of people, and so does an LF Zenkai. Well, here's the problem. Like, well, not problem, but here's the reason why they do this is they want to incentivize you to summon for the character that gets the platinum equipment by dropping one, right? They drop Ultra UI Goku's platinum equipment. There's a reason why they also drop his banner on the same time at the same day, right? There's a reason why they're doing that. Is because they drop the platinum equipment. You see how busted the character is with the platinum equipment, and now they're incentivizing you to go ahead and summon for that character now. So that is the reason why they do it that way. They want you to summon for that character. But yeah, they should have other content. Sure. I don't know. This is more so a thing with major celebrations too. Like, if in like March or October we get a week where it's just a platinum equipment, like sure, like I don't think it's the end of the world. But if it's the middle of the anniversary and the only content we have for the day, the entire week is a platinum equipment, then yeah, it's probably a problem, right? And so does LF Zenkai. When they release one of the two, they should always make sure there's also something exciting for the average player. It's that simple. Yeah, I mean, I understand the logic behind this. My suggestion would be a Zenkai celebration month. What the hell is this multi? What? Take a month and catch up with a way overdue Zenkai from LFs and 1% Sparkings. Maybe do 2 LFs and 3 to 4 Sparkings a week. This would be good fan service to older players and give the devs time to catch up on development time. So, how well would this actually go? I actually don't know how this would be received. So let's just say, so 2 LFs and 3 to 4 Sparkings a week. Let's say we do this, okay? Let's just take a look here. Let's just say they Zenkai'd this entire, well, I guess it wouldn't be that many. It would be like, let's just say they Zenkai like 6 LF characters in a month. 6 LF characters that don't have Zenkais. And then they do, I guess it would be like 12 1% Sparking Zenkais for the month. But then they dropped no new characters. Would people actually like that? I feel like the overall response would be negative, actually. I think the reason why Zenkais work is because they're mixed in with new characters. And a lot of the times, like, you're not just Zenkaiing characters for no reason. A lot of times they're Zenkaiing these characters because they work with the other characters that exist. They Zenkai Blue Spirit Bomb Goku from GT. Why? Because we're in the middle of a GT campaign and he works well with the GT characters. They Zenkai this guy, reviving UI Goku during the anniversary. Why? Because he works well with the other Universe Rep characters. Well, they tried with Cooler, right? They Zenkai Cooler, theoretically. Why? Because he works well with the other Lineage of Evil characters. Unfortunately, that didn't end up being the case, but that's the reason why they did it, right? So there's reasons why they Zenkai these characters when they do. So it would kind of be a little bit strange if they just like they just took a bunch of, 15 or so characters and just Zenkai them all in a month. But I think, yeah, I don't actually know how this would go down with people. I would assume that the overall response would be largely negative to this, but I actually don't know. I don't know. All right, I think what we'll do is we'll go through these and then we will be good to go. This has basically been an hour long. Completely revamp on equipment system, specifically the Awaken equips. Yeah, well, you're in luck because it does look like we're heading down that path here. I think it would be cool if they actually make us play the game to get good equipment. Make a boss that the more you stay alive, the better your equipment instead of just gambling. That's interesting, actually. Huh. What if they had... Dude, this is an idea that we had like 6 years ago. So the idea that we had was this was like back when we used to do the podcast like 6 years ago, man. The idea that we had is there would be multiple different like levels of erasers. So right now there's only one eraser in the game, just a normal eraser. But our idea back then was you would also have like a silver and a gold eraser. And the difference between these erasers is you would have the higher the rarity of the eraser, you would have a higher chance of getting a better roll when using them. So they could have specific events that could give you access to those different kinds of erasers. So maybe there's a hard boss and one of the goals or the missions of that stage is if you survive 50 counts against this boss, you get 5 silver erasers. Or if you kill the boss, you get 5 gold erasers. That could be a way they do it, right? But it would require that they introduce this new type of eraser system. The only issue with that is I don't know if that's something like, because I don't know what the laws look like with chances. The reason why they don't sell, like there's a reason why they don't sell erasers anymore. They used to. I think it's South Korea that has a law about this now. That's obviously a more recent law. The reason why this game doesn't sell erasers straight up is because you can't sell an item that has a chance to end you in a spot where you're worse off than where you started. Because if they sold us erasers and let's just say you spent $10 for 2 erasers, which obviously is terrible. Okay, let's say it's $10 for 50 erasers. There's a pack in the shop. It's $10 US for 50 erasers, and you buy that pack. You theoretically could spend 50 erasers and end up with a worse roll than when you started. So they're trying to not have that be a situation where you spend money to end up in a worse position. That is what the law, I think, the South Korea law is supposed to try and prevent from happening. And that's why they're able to sell the slot 1 guaranteed upgrade ticket, because that's a guarantee upgrade. So you are guaranteed to end up in a better position than you were when you started. So that's why they can sell those, but they can't sell erasers. That is my understanding of the situation. So I don't know if them introducing some kind of like silver or gold eraser that gives you a higher chance to get better rolls would have anything to do with that, but that would obviously be something that they would need to consult with their legal team before they would implement that. But that could be a way to kind of fit in with this change. If they're not going to fix awakened equips, at least make it so we can make them in bulk like they did with normal upgrading. Also, although this is not likely with the new banner having multiple ultras, maybe it's time to make ultra banners with older ultras in it. Yeah, so I don't know why they haven't done this yet. It's way past due. I remember, you know, the funny thing about this is when I brought this up multiple times in the past, people actually didn't want this. And you know what? You want to know what the reasoning is? If we go over to the summit, let's just again talk about this. I actually cannot. I really haven't brought this up in a long time because I actually was stunned. I was physically stunned at how many people said they didn't want to see this because of the stupidest reason ever. Let's take like the full power Frieza banner. Okay. In fact, I think this actually does call for me to open up my game because it'll be easier to look at this in game. Okay, so let's just take the Super Saiyan 4 Goku banner as an example. So let's take a look at the drop rates. The total drop rate for an ultra character here is 0.35%. So what they should do moving forward, Goku 0.35%. All they would need to do is let's just add 2 other ultras to this banner. Let's just say Ultra Super Gogeta is added and Ultra Broly is added, right? No reason. Let's just say they're on here because they're older and they don't think people are going to be summoning on their own individual banners anymore. So let's just put them on this banner as well. So now we have this Goku, Ultra Super Gogeta, and Ultra Broly all on this banner. What we would want them to do is that we would want them to just give those characters, I think a realistic percentage is probably like 0.2%. So we'd have Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Goku at 0.35%. We have Ultra Super Gogeta at like 0.2%. And then we have Ultra Legendary Super Saiyan Z Broly at 0.2%. So your total ultra rate would be 0.75%. So you're basically more than doubling the overall pull rate of the ultras here. And then you'd have the double rate step, which would mean your actual total rate would be 1.5% to get an ultra on that step. But, you know, you wouldn't just have this ultra on the banner. You'd also have those older ultras, which, you know, maybe not the greatest anymore, but they're still at least available on here, so you don't have to summon on their own banners to get them. The argument people were making back in the day for why they didn't want to see that is because they didn't want to get like a good animation and then have the animation pop up and it was for an older ultra character. Their argument was literally, we don't want to see the ultra orb pop up on the screen and then it's not the new ultra. That was their argument for not wanting older ultras on new banners. So people like, and it wasn't just like one or two people saying that, it was like a lot of people saying that. So I basically just stopped talking about this, like just, and I stopped talking about this in general because that argument was so stupid that there wasn't any single way I think I could have gotten through to people making that argument. So I just kind of stopped talking about this because I just couldn't even fathom the mindset you would need to have to make such a terrible argument for this. So I just stopped talking about this. But yeah, eventually we're going to need older ultras on new banners because we have this many summonable ultras now in the game. Okay, this many exist. We're just going to keep adding more banners every single time a new ultra comes out. We're going to have like 50 banners for each of these ultras now. Like it's going to get to the point where it's ridiculous. Honestly, it already is at the point where it's ridiculous. They've not even brought back like Ultra Super Gogeta on a banner with another ultra before. Like it's time we address this, man. It's time. So I don't want to hear the argument of, oh, I don't want to see the Ultra Orb fly in for Ultra Super Gogeta. Like, it doesn't matter. Who cares? It doesn't affect the rates. I don't know. Stupid argument. Where were we? We 100% need an awake. Dude, this is actually the most talked about topic. 100% need an awakened equipment system overhaul. The current system is just god awful. Needs to be much easier to get better slots on these equips instead of wasting hundreds of memories and getting E rank equips even with equipment bonanzas. Yeah, we'll see what they do here, but we do have confirmation something is coming. Something is coming to fix or improve the experience, right? All right, last one. Improving the equipment away. Okay. Improving the equipment awakening process. I know they aren't going to overhaul it, but at least make it so I can awaken multiple equipment at once. I would also like for Ultra Space Time Rush to not be multiple bosses, but one boss that has a lot of health or bulk. Ultra Space Time Rush is boring. Yeah, I agree. Wow, so Equipment Awakening takes the cake here for the most popular just thing in the game that people want to see revamp for. Interesting. I actually wouldn't have guessed that. I would not have guessed that at all. But there we go. This was a pretty long hour and 8 minutes we're in. So let me know down below what you guys think. Actually, again, the one question I actually have for you guys, besides just putting what you want to see improved, is specifically in reference to the World Championship. Are you guys legitimately invested or interested at all in the World Championship, or do you just care about like the announcements for the new characters, the new updates? Because me personally, I do not care. If you knew how bad this World Championship was ran and how like terribly this was managed, you wouldn't care either, I think. But I think like people don't care anyway about this. But you guys let me know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just me. But hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know what improvements you want to see in 2026, and I will see you guys in the next one.